Right. Evening, everyone. All of you can see where the chat is, and then obviously you can stick in whatever messages you are. Also, feel free to just interrupt. I really don't care too much about that kind of thing. Right, so we are looking at business level strategies. You can look at some of the stuff that I've shared on there. I think the first thing to remember around business level strategies is that these strategies are those that allow us to compete within a particular industry, or to suggest that we need to have specific products aimed for a specific market. And once we've got those specific products for the specific market, we can spend a lot of time, our processes in terms of connecting with customers, of creating niches in order to remain competitive in that particular niche. So in terms of the level of strategies, they love asking this as an exam question. So corporate level strategy, also your grand strategies, those grand strategies take you to your long-term objectives. So if you think of first semester and the stuff that you would have done in first semester, sorry, I've just had another class and I just need to cancel this, and sorry, my apologies. I'm using a new pad and I'm still getting used to it, a writing pad. Let me just see where my pen is. So generally what we have is at the top of the organization, your vision, and then your mission statement. You guys will remember that your vision is the ambitious future an organization sees for itself. The mission statement indicates the purpose. You also remember from semester 1 or BMNG 7321 that you have a value statement. That value statement talks individually to each of your stakeholders, and then we cascade the mission statement further into long-term objectives. You also remember that those long-term objectives relate to the balanced scorecard measures. So you have long-term objectives that relate to finance, customer, business process, and then learning and growth. And then generally, when we talk about corporate strategy, these are your grand strategies. Your corporate strategies are those that take you to your long-term objectives. And because we deal with corporate strategy at that level, it really is focused on giving direction to the organization in its entirety. And I'm not going to talk about cascading into annual, etc. Right now. Oh, we might as well, then I don't have to break this thing again. So from there, a long-term objective goes into annual objectives. And remember, the intention is if you achieve all your operational objectives, which are at the lower level, you should achieve all your annual objectives, you should achieve your long-term objectives. And you also know that tactics take you to your annual objectives, and then plans take you to your operational objectives. And then those strategies, those grand strategies, take you to those long-term objectives. So corporate level strategy, direction for the organization in its entirety, and then business level strategy. This is what we're looking at now. It is how you compete within a particular industry. Operational strategies will relate to sort of sections and individuals in the organization. Business level strategy, essentially those processes where we place specific products in specific markets in order to capture a niche. You can see that I've left in some of the stuff from the textbook. Yeah, in terms of what determines our strategic choice, it is always going to be the kind of resources and capabilities that we have. Remember, resources, human resources, and capital and capabilities, those things that maximize what we can get out of our resources. And then your business level strategies, your competitive strategies, what we deal with in terms of being the kind of organization that gets in the ring with other organizations. And then, yeah, generally everything takes its lead from corporate strategies. You can have a look at this. I'm not too worried about that. I think the one thing that I want to spend a bit of time on is this here. So when we look at business level strategies, the important bit are those specific criteria that will determine which strategy that you will adopt. So generally, if you want a broad market, you will adopt a particular strategy and a specific approach. And then the moment you say narrow market or a small niche, you're talking about focus strategies and combinations of those. And the other one is, do we want to compete on the basis of being the organization that is efficient, that passes those efficiencies over onto customers, or do we want to compete on product differentiation? So you'll see, you'll remember this from last week or the previous week when we did the assignment. Cost leadership, those companies that compete on the basis of cost. Give me examples of restaurants that compete on the basis of cost leadership or takeaways. What takeaways compete on the basis of cost leadership? Anyone? Where it's not about cheap and nasty. Yeah, Chicken Licken. Pedro's, absolutely, Steph. Pedro's is a wonderful example. Which fast food outlets compete on the basis of differentiation? Pedro's is a really good example. I mean, it would be the upmarket Pedro's, I suppose we would suggest. Which organizations, which outlets compete on the basis of uniqueness, differentiation? For me, I think it's Nando's would certainly fit into that. And then depending on your focus, differentiation focus, I would imagine it's Kuwait and then cost focus. I mean, there are a lot of those really entry-level organizations where it's about cheap, quick turnover. Again, it's not about nasty. And then also the idea of this best value. And when I think best value, I often think KFC might fit into that. It's good value for money. It's pretty unique, and that might fit in there. But it depends on your view in terms of those. Okay. I've put this in here in terms of the business level strategy. So broad, the idea that from a cost perspective, Amazon competes, Apple in terms of differentiation. And then obviously, as we move to narrow, I'm not sure what that Checkers is. That's obviously overseas. And you can see Rolls-Royce, very cost focused. And then IKEA, that magic mix between enough focus, between enough uniqueness and good value for money. Remember, we would have said that would be Toyota. All right. In terms of cost leadership, what I've put there is what I would imagine is the cheapest vehicle in South Africa at the moment. I think it's whatever the Toyota version of that Nano is. And then, guys, in terms of cost leadership, what vehicle is that? Can anyone recognize that? Does anyone recognize that vehicle? Remember, so everything is about efficiency and passing whatever savings we have onto our year. Anyone here own a QT Bolt? Anyone brave enough to get into a QT Bolt? A cute Bolt. Oh, anyone ever seen one, driven in one? I know that there are some taxis that use it. Has anyone ever driven in one? Seen many? Obviously, Vijesh, are you in Cape Town? Been stuck, been stuck behind one. Amy, so our speedster Amy, in Joburg. Okay. It is not for the faint-hearted. Yeah, no, I would imagine so. I would imagine so. But yeah, I think it's a wonderful example. And I don't know what the cost of those are, but I think they're real entry level. So you can see the stuff that makes your cost leadership work. Always will be the ideas of economies of scale, but efficiencies and passing those efficiencies across to your customers, very, very important. So that's why you have specialized machines that can pump your product out of the production line. And then obviously the more you manufacture, you have economies of scale and you reduce the per unit cost. Everything is about keeping costs low. Has anyone ever shopped at Pep? Because that definitely is a cost leadership strategy. Anyone shop at Pep? Vijeshna, what are the kinds of things? I haven't been inside a Pep in a long time. Are they really that cheap? But I also think they don't just sell clothes now. Yeah, they don't just sell clothes, they sell, I believe, bathroom wear, everything. Pep Home, I didn't even know Pep Home existed. Claudine, what is Pep Home like, and what does the price compare to in terms of Mr. Price Home?
Much cheaper than Mr. Price. Can't recall the actual price, but the quality is not bad. I bought a mirror there.
You bought a mirror. Mind you, a mirror is a mirror is a mirror. Do you look, because you're not going to look uglier in a Pep mirror than you do in. I freaking will hope not. Okay. So I'm taking my mirror back. It makes me look ugly. It's not good because it's a Pep mirror. Oh, okay. And then kitchen items, bedroom, bathroom. Yeah. I don't even know. I'm in Pietermaritzburg and I don't even know if we have got a Pep Home here. Anyone, Durban, Pietermaritzburg, is that where we'll find Pep Home? I honestly don't know where they are, but it's a wonderful example, and the focus very much on making sure that we are efficient and that we pass those efficiencies across. Guys, whenever you see these advantages, and I would have mentioned this in our discussion for the assignment, these relate to Porter's 5 forces. So if you get stuck in an exam and you have to discuss the advantages, just default to first semester Porter's 5 forces, and I think we all know that it's about your competitors, it's about your suppliers, it is about your buyers, your customers, it's about substitute, and then also the idea of bringing in new entrants. So if you ever get stuck in the exam, just default in terms of the advantages and the disadvantages to Porter's 5 forces. And also remember, this is Porter's strategy. So these generic strategies are Porter strategies, and it's a wonderful way of linking those. So advantages, very difficult for a competitor to compete if you are very efficient. Suppliers, essentially, if they up their prices because you're efficient, you can still pass those, you can still include the increase in prices and still be the most competitive. I also think because you buy in bulk, those suppliers are in trouble. In terms of buyers, where else do you go? I mean, if you go to Mr. Price Home, you're going to pay more. Pep Home, it clearly is a good alternative. Substitute products, I think, very difficult to find in most industry substitute products. And then, guys, the idea of cost advantage, very difficult for a new entrant to go in there. I think it's in terms of what you guys would still, would have done in first semester or in the previous semester on this. It's the idea of that sort of feeding frenzy, red ocean market. So often people who compete in this at this level are in the sort of red ocean markets. Anyone remember the red ocean and blue ocean markets? Oh, Pep Homes in many malls. Okay, Vijeshna, thank you. Anyone remember red and blue ocean strategies? This is always going to be a red ocean strategy. And to survive a red ocean strategy, being able to be the most efficient and most cost effective, very, very important in terms of survival. The same with the disadvantages. I think you could also just get so cheap that you become cheap and nasty. And I think people might not enjoy that. And sometimes there are big companies that can also start competing on this. So no dramas in terms of that. You've got your examples there. And then differentiation, if you think differentiation, it's always going to be about uniqueness. It's about stand out from the crowd. Yeah, I put Pam Golding. Oh, gosh, this isn't translated really well in terms of the pictures. Is it Pam Golding properties? Anyone ever deal with Pam Golding? They're different. They're different. They sell in different areas. They sell in more upmarket areas. They tend to focus on more expensive homes. So as a property sales type place, they definitely suggest for me the idea that they are unique and differentiated. Anyone disagree with me on that one? Pam Golding, do they just sell in upmarket places? Anyone work as an estate agent? Okay. So in terms of staying ahead from a uniqueness perspective, these kinds of things are important. Constant research and design, so you're constantly pushing technology, you're at the cutting edge of technology, and then obviously most important that your design stands out from the crowd. So if you think of motor vehicles, the kinds of things that you will see in terms of BMW and Audi, very, very different. And the most important thing is that your brand allows you to differentiate. And again, when you think of the kinds of vehicles that I've mentioned, Audi and Mercedes and BMW certainly suggest stand out from the crowd. Any BMW, Audi, Mercedes drivers here? Come on, one of you must at least drive a BMW. One of you must drive a Mercedes. Claudine, BMW. Yeah, if you drive a BMW, you just can't be quiet about it. Sorry, Claudine. Any Mercedes drivers? I have an awful joke about BMW drivers, but I'm being recorded, so I can't even tell the joke. You used to be have you now scaled up to a Mercedes or to an Audi, Vijeshna? Merc as well. Oh, these people that show off. Okay, so the rest of you, I'm assuming, drive Volkswagen. Okay, very, very cool. So in terms of a differentiation strategy, to make it successful is you need to know your customer and you need to stay close to your customer. You can see I've stuck an Audi in there. And you need to know who your competitors are because these are the guys in that niche. And we know. Oh, you are such a show off, Vijeshna. Minus 25% in your first assignment. An old one. Yeah, sure, Vijeshna. Make the rest of us feel better. Shame us Ford drivers and yeah, old Audi model. Oh, well done, Stephanie. My son has my middle son has a Suzuki Swift, and my youngest son has a Suzuki Ignis. For me, Suzuki is a wonderful example of cost leadership. I think they spot on in terms of cost leadership. Mind you, I lie. I think for some of the models, I think the new Swift might even be the kind of integrated strategy. Very cool, Steph. Right. So differentiated strategy, know your customers, and then also in terms of the globalization of markets, I think it's this idea that it becomes very difficult because you've got new entrants. But when we think of those kinds of BMW, Audi, BMW, and Mercedes, there's nothing really else that has attacked us in South Africa. And I don't want to talk about Lexus and the upmarket vehicles like Volvo because they don't fit in here. They to me are a focused differentiation. Again, you can see here Porter's five forces, and you can see that because of your brand, competitors can get lost. Suppliers can increase the price because of brand loyalty. People will pay the extra price. I think the powerful buyers, you have three choices. Mind you, unless you are Vijeshna and will drive all three at the same time, you can buy Audi, you can buy a BMW, or you can buy a Mercedes. And then just substitutes, very difficult when you've got customer loyalty. And then, yeah, I think very difficult for someone to enter that particular market. It's not as easy as it may seem. Guys, and then disadvantages. It's too late, Vijeshna. You've already lost the 25%. And then the disadvantages, yeah, very difficult to remain unique. I mean, for me, and I'm possibly going to get killed here, I don't see the difference between a BMW, an Audi, or a Mercedes. Am I just being naive? We'll wait for the all three drivers to tell us. For me, it's very difficult for me to consider uniqueness. I think I don't know, one and the same. And maybe that's just a bit of naivety on my part. And then just also I think sometimes when your uniqueness comes from your technology and the physical features, people copy. Honestly, people copy and share technology. Quality of service, yeah, sometimes allow you to stay ahead. But when we have those three brands, they are fantastic at service. So I've stuck a BMW in there as well. Focus strategies, narrowly focused on a very clear niche market. I've tried to, guys, get this right with pictures here. Focused cost leadership. So this would be your entry level stuff. Not everyone will buy it, but it will find favor within a particular niche. This is the cheapest phone in the country. I don't know if we still have young people who go out that have an official phone and their go out phone. This would be your go out phone. The scary thing is it still has buttons. I think it's like 200 or something rand, but you will find people who will buy it. I mean, it's not the kind of phone that you'll leave on a bar to think you're going to impress anyone. But yeah, so the focus here is cheap and have a small group of very loyal customers. Anyone stay in Stay Easy before? The Stay Easy hotel chain? What I understand, it's a bed and nothing else. Anyone stay in that? I'm not talking to obviously Claudine and Vijeshna because you know, they drive those fancy cars. Okay. Guys, and then just again, elements in terms of that. Yeah, important that you have your clear customers when it comes to focus differentiation. You can see what I've added into that. Again, very clear, customized figures with features with very, very clear customers in mind. And then, guys, you can see Charter Club, Harley Davidson. For me, I believe that Volvo fits into that. I mean, Volvo is a wonderful vehicle, and anywhere else it would be a differentiated option. But because we have a niche market in South Africa, Volvo fits into that. I also think Lexus, not everyone's going to default to a Lexus or a Nissan Infinity. So I think they very much focus differentiation. Has anyone ever here ever driven a Volvo? Any Volvo drivers previously? Amy, what do you think of Volvo? Because Volvo drivers are very loyal. Best car ever. And have you got it still? Oh, that's sad. I mean, Volvo drivers are the most loyal and viciously loyal people. It's a wonderful vehicle and always the safest, and they've got so many standout features. But in South Africa, a very, very niche market, but a very loyal market. So in terms of advantages, again, Porter's five forces, and it depends on your brand, it depends on the customer taste, it depends on whether other competitors would want to get into the ring with you because they might be focusing on broader markets. And then disadvantages, again, you can see there, if a broad focused brand decides to move into your niche, very difficult to compete against because, you know, something could add value in the eyes of your customers, and it's easy to lose that very rapidly. Then the one that I think most of our vehicles would fit into, integrated cost leadership. It's this wonderful combination. Now, when I shared that recording with you guys on this, I didn't like the fact that they suggested that this is a very difficult strategy to follow. I think with technology being the way it is at this stage, I think a lot of companies follow this strategy. For me, Suzuki fits into this because Suzuki is enough uniqueness, enough bling, and also really, really good value for money. The Suzuki Swift driver, who is that? Would you suggest it's a value for money strategy? Remember when we have this integrated, Steph, would you say it's a value for money strategy, or what would you say? Is Stephanie still here?
Hi, Henny, can you hear me?
Yeah, of course, Stephanie.
Yeah, I love it. Look, it's got all sorts of bells and whistles that you aren't gonna find at that price in any
Never
other
ever.
car.
And they are bulletproof. They're absolutely bulletproof. I think they're wonderful vehicles. I think any Suzuki is a wonderful vehicle. Yeah,
I've
no,
never
I
had any
agree.
issues. Very happy with it.
Yeah,
And I'm now looking
wonderful.
at a Jimny to upgrade.
Oh, yeah. My wife
They're
drives a
super
Tiguan,
cute.
and my wife drives a Tiguan, and her dream car is a Jimny. So I'm not going to say anything more than that. Yeah, I've given up on that now. It's a wonderful. It's a genuine 4x4 for that price. It competes against the Range Rovers and 4x4 capability. Toyota, any Toyota drivers? Remember the biggest selling brand in the country? Toyota drivers here? Who are the Toyota drivers? Any Volkswagen drivers? I was one. Yes, Vijeshna. Volkswagen drivers. Obviously, we have a Tiguan in the house. Any Volkswagen drivers? Yeah. Which one, Criselda? A Polo. Yeah, wonderful.
Polo, yeah.
Yeah, Polo, that's cool. Anyone other Volkswagen? Okay. So no Toyota, no Volkswagen. What other vehicles? Please tell me what we've missed. Ford. Yeah, I drive a Ford Territory. Any other Ford drivers? There are not many of us. People don't like us. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm missing out. Mazda, I don't know. We're you live in Cape Town, clearly, Chrissy. Cape Town. We were in Cape Town recently, and there are bloody Ubers everywhere. That's so cool. Cape Town, Chrissy? Or Joburg? Because in Maritzburg and Durban, Ubers.
Joburg.
Johannesburg. Yeah, well, easier to do that. Okay, guys, in terms of cost leadership integrated with differentiation, it is a best value strategy. So often the kinds of examples we'll have here are those that create that magic mix. And remember, technology allows you to do it, that you get from economies of scale. But as Stephanie said, you know, throwing a bit of bling into it. I mean, a lot of features. If you see the features that we find in Suzuki's now, it's astonishing. So in terms of this combination strategy, you can see the examples that I have there. I've left that in because I really believe Sorbet Beauty fits into that category. I mean, it is really good value for money. Now, obviously, I don't use those beauty salons. Anyone aware of Sorbet, use Sorbet? Remember, at some point they were linked to Clicks. I think you can still buy some of their products there. Milani, what do you think of Sorbet?
I think Sorbet is a very good brand. I use it for facials and it has improved my skin.
Oh, that's wonderful. And don't they have the refillable bottles, so they do the whole sustainability thing as well?
I don't usually buy their products. I just go there
Okay.
for the facials, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. So guys, in terms of that magic mix advantages, I think very few competitors can do that quality versus price thing, do the best value thing. I don't think it's an automatic setting for most companies. I think in terms of the organizational image, the organizations that fit into this category really are those that are popular, that people will follow simply because of that magic mix. I've only put that in there because it said value for money that there. So I don't know what my net curtains has to do with it, but it's the only picture that I could find with value for money. And remember again, Porter's 5 forces here. And because of efficiencies, because of technology, you can keep adding features. You can keep improving the quality and still reduce the price. And that's what magic technology does. And then disadvantages. Yeah, the suggestion is that you're trying to balance the impossible. But in terms of modern times, it's easy if you have access to the right, as I now sound like a broken record, the right technologies to balance those two. And then there is the danger of stuck in the middle. But I think companies now are aware of what customers want and how to satisfy customers. Okay, so this is not in the textbook, but I quite like the slide simply because it is a wonderful summary, and I like here. So this is the integrated strategy. It's a nice way to default to when you're doing your assignment. So you can see the different options that are there, and this is the integrated strategy down in the middle. And then we see in terms of modern business, now this is in this year's textbook, this is not in the previous textbook, the idea of collaborative strategies. And collaborative strategies happen when you have two competitors share technology, share building facility, building plants, etc., manufacturing plants. But once they appear on a showroom, they've separated. And unfortunately, I've defaulted to cars again. And the sad thing is, I did both my master's and PhD in the auto industry, so I tend to default there. What are those two vehicles that are combined there? Anyone want to tell me? These are, I hope somebody drives one of those two because they're very cool. What are those two vehicles in that picture? 25% for the first person to tell me.
Toyota and BMW.
Yeah, which Toyota
and I'm waiting for the 85.
Which Toyota? You got about 135 already. So you were hoping I was going to escalate the offer.
This is recorded, Eddie.
Yeah, it is recorded. I'll edit it though. Oh, Chrissy, remember it's the Z4 and the Toyota Supra. Is that right? Somebody help me with the Supra. Thanks. So you're in. Yeah, trust the Indian boy to know the cars immediately. And yeah, if you say that it's stereotypical, just it's a joke, remember. So Euron, please tell me you're not offended. Okay. And then, yeah, guys, that magic mix. I think the reality is we've seen it in the Toyota 86 and the Subaru BRZ. We see it in terms of the current range of VW Amaroks. In terms of the Amaroks, remember, it is literally Ford Ranger underneath, and it's just the VW technology and the body shape. We saw it ages ago in terms of, which didn't work out because it was an illogical combination, the Mercedes Bucky, which was a Nissan Navara with the Mercedes, with the Mercedes body on. There are lots of those examples. If you drive a 4-cylinder Mercedes, it's a Renault engine. So if you drive a C-Class Mercedes with a 4-cylinder engine, it's a Renault engine. And we see this, and it's because technology is advancing so very rapidly. It's almost impossible for a single company to keep track of all technology. So we see these kinds of collaborative strategies simply because the world has gone insane. Okay, you'll see that I've given you the activities there. Please tell me that I have uploaded your ICE tasks. Remember, they're self-grading. Are the ICE tasks up? I'm sure I've loaded them, but ARC has not been friendly to me. Steph, are the ICE tasks up?
I think I saw them.
Okay, Claudine, that's fantastic. Guys, I don't give deadlines for each of those. You finish them as soon as possible. They shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes to do. Whether you get 1 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, you get 100% for each of those. Get them out the way. Those are freebie Poncella marks. I don't want to make your life difficult with that. I will tell you the final due date. By then, you should be finished with them. It shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes. Who has attempted the ICE tasks? You officially, no, they're not. They're under content. Chris, they're under content. So right to the bottom of content. And there is a heading called ICE, and then you open that, and they're 4 there. Get them done, guys. That's freebie marks. Honestly, those are freebie marks, in my opinion. Right. This is also potentially an exam question. We had a look at this when we did the assignment, but we'll just go through that again. In determining how your strategy works for a particular organization, appropriateness, I think the key word is suitability, and that it allows you to use your internal bits, the resources and capabilities, and match that with the external realities. So what you want is to understand the key success factors in an industry and make sure that you have those elements in place so that you can address those key success factors with your products and services. And I think it's also making sure that the kind of things we have inside. And remember the difference between a resource and a capability. A resource, something we have. A capability allows us to maximize our resources. So you want those kind of strategies that stretches the organization, but really, really capitalizes on your capabilities. I think it's also important that your stakeholders must be able to align themselves with your strategy. Okay, not going to go through those. They're not going to ask you those specifics. Feasibility, here it's about not overstretching the organization. So the focus is very much on what have we got available from finances and resources, and do we have the potential to make this strategy work? And yeah, we've seen companies that have overstretched and overreached and fall short. Just in terms of appropriateness, it's the Mercedes Bucky failed in terms of that particular measure. Desirability, it's whether this strategy that you're adopting will achieve short and long-term objectives. So what are our important issues, priorities, needs, and then also are we making sure that we're attending to risk issues? And then consistency, I think it's about congruence, that everything in the organization aligns with everything else. So all cuts back to your vision, and that your strategy adopted here is in line with your vision. So if your vision is exclusivity, your strategy will be differentiation. If your vision is we are cost efficient, then it's either an integrated strategy or it's going to be low cost leadership. Validity, in deciding your strategy, you use facts, you use numbers and stats, and you use those numbers and stats as the basis of your assumptions on which strategy to use. And then attractiveness to stakeholders. I think there are many ways of making money, and I would have used that awful term of hiring a boat and beating baby seals to death. You know, it's easy money, but is it appropriate? Is it something that we would want to do? Again, you can see there. So that's the first learning unit. There should be no issues with this. I think the one rule in terms of my slides is, for those of you that have not had me as a lecturer before, trust my slides. You have to trust my slides, okay? Any questions, any comments at this stage? I want to move on to the second learning unit. Go for it, Milani.
So I've noticed that some of the concepts that are asked on ARC are in the old textbook, which is...
Well, that's the problem. So you'll see I've blended, I've tried to make sure, and because they're using the wrong assignment, it's based on the old textbook. I'm hoping that we will get only focus around the new textbook. And I am concerned about it, but the moment they send us the exam brief, and I don't know whether the exam brief is out, we'll start working on the new textbook. So they've not updated the MO, is that the term, the module outline, and also what would have been the script for the stuff that was on BC Learn. So don't worry about it. The textbook, they should base the exam on this textbook. Otherwise, we just put in a grievance.
Is there a very big difference, Henny, between the old and new textbook?
If you've got my slides plus the old textbook, you don't have to worry.
Okay, yeah, because I've got the old one, so I'm just wondering if I should get the new one.
Because there are 2 chapters that are a real pain in terms of the updates that they've done. I'm just going to stop this recording so we can start the recording for the second learning unit. Yeah.